All right. You ready, Matt? Here we go. How yins doing? You're listening to episode 10 of Puckin Dirty. My name is Dave. I'm the host of this here pod. Obviously, this podcast is a hockey podcast, primarily covering Penguins, Florida Panthers, any hockey pop culture out there. Today, I'm joined here by the only, I'm sorry, Matt Stalter, the
Hey,
one, the only.
there's
How's it going, Matt?
multiple, but
I guess there are
it's good.
multiple Matt Stalters in the world,
Yeah.
which is something to be afraid of here.
Oh man, no way. I'm a
Yeah,
good
well,
guy, I promise.
no, he's not. Today, we're doing something a little different here. I usually have a more structured kind of pod. This is going to be more off the cusp here. I have a whiteboard behind me, kind of using that. First item of this here podcast, episode 10, is happy birthday, Sean Ward.
Happy
Uh,
birthday, Sean.
yeah, he's a GM in our fantasy league, playing him this week, kicking his ass, obviously. Um, but yeah, known Sean for a long time, so happy birthday. I don't know if you ever listened to this, but if you do, bam, boom, you'll be surprised.
Yow!
Yeah. And like let's just do you want to break into the hockey cards, Matt? You want to talk about what you did over New Year's here? It is the
Let's
3rd of
just
January here.
let's break into the hockey
Yeah,
cards, I
I'll open
guess.
them and we can talk. What did you do this this New Year's, Matt? What were you ever in my house just being a naughty boy?
Yeah, I was just at Dave's. We were having some beers, some Big Deal Brewing. Uh,
Very interesting. If you like Labatt, you will like that. But I don't.
yeah, it tastes pretty good. I'd give
I'd
it
give
like
it
a 4.
out of 5. I'd give it like a 3. I don't really like Labatt.
I like Labatt, so it
So
makes sense.
first pack here I opened, Matt, was this exclusive rookie pack. I should show the pack.
Ooh,
Uh, First pull there, Maddie
Maddie
Bernier.
Bernier.
Uh, Pretty interesting. If they're like rookie cards, different than the other ones. Kent Johnson, you might know
Oh
him.
yeah, nice blue jacket.
Bum.
He's good for the future,
And Matt
hopefully.
Boldy, who I know right now is on Pat's team.
He's a beast.
And he's honestly a beast too. He's part of why I think Minnesota is a pretty good team. Actually, he's just getting better. It seems like. Opening the second pack here, boom, bada boom. But yeah, New Year's was fun. I feel like I didn't get like super wasted, which was nice. I was
Yeah,
hungover as fuck, but like it wasn't because I like really went and got wasted. I think it's just
probably
because I'm
just
old.
age and lack of water.
Yeah, lack of water for sure.
Lack of water saved me on New Year's Day. Oh,
Daniel Sprong there, former Pens draft pick there. Matt Grizzlick, solid. This is a pretty interesting one. Alexander Barkov, Braden Point card,
ooh,
checklist card.
the Florida Bowl.
Oh yeah, Battle for Florida. Take a guess. Tyler Myers.
Tyler
Too late.
Myers.
I'm sorry. It's an interesting rookie card here.
Oh, that's a good one.
No,
I can't read it. No
Noah
Gates.
Cates.
No Gates.
Interesting
Nice.
card. Guess I could show you. It's not very interesting, the checklist card, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mason Marchment, when he's on the Panthers, he's actually on the Stars now.
Yeah, that's a throwback. Hopefully he does well for the Stars. He's been on and
He's
off
not
this
doing
year.
great, yeah. Apparently his first NHL hat trick was in a 6-2 victory over Minnesota. Pretty interesting. Ending a 6-game winning streak for Minnesota. Boom. Oscar Lindbaum, I'm pretty sure he might not even play anymore. I don't remember.
I think is he back on the Flyers?
He might be injured. I don't know. Let's look him up. This is what I've been doing for the last Oscar Lindbaum. Yeah, apparently he's I think he might be on the Sharks.
Oh.
Yeah. Bum. And Kaler Yamamoto.
Oh.
I feel like I thought he was better than he was, but I don't know. Last pack here, Matthew.
Same style.
Same style.
Yeah, same style of pack.
Yeah, same pack. Kai got me a big booster of them, and I opened like half of them, and then I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna do this for the pod."
Nice.
All right, first pull here, Anthony Sorelli.
Oh, that's a
Obvious
good pull.
dog. He's a fucking dog.
Yeah,
He's
he's
the kind of
a
player you need on your
monster.
team if you're gonna be Stanley Cup champ. What'd you say? He's on a hot streak.
No, I was saying he was a monster at the dot.
Yeah, he's a dog. Like, same with this guy, Artem Zeb. I've heard he likes to really throw his body around, and he's a pretty big guy, 6'2", 200 pounds. Big dude.
He's
Another
good on the
bump.
blue line. Oh, is that
Oscar
Sean
or Sean
Corrali?
Corrali, yeah.
Oh, I think he's not bad as
Yeah,
a
he's all
fourth
right.
liner, but
I didn't know he got drafted by the Bruins.
yeah, he started in Boston, I believe.
98 points in 347 games. 195 PIMs. He's a pretty gritty dude.
Yeah, he gets all those categories.
Most recently with the Blue Jackets, he has 61 PIMs. And interesting. Next one, it's a canvas card, so it's like not like the normal like plastic.
Oh,
Oliver
it's like the
Ekman-Larsson.
painted.
Yeah, pretty interesting.
That's a cool one.
Cool little shot on the back there, if you can see it well enough. Looks like, I don't know what, maybe some kind of indigenous design on that. Looks pretty cool though.
I'm a fan of Ekman-Larsson. I think he's a solid defenseman. Blocks a lot of shots.
He's kind of old now though, isn't he? Like,
Yeah, that's true. He's
actually,
probably
he's
like
32.
32.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's never been a good defenseman, like defensive guy. Like, he's definitely known for moving the power play and, being able to get pucks up and being quick,
Yeah,
which
and
is
he's
kind of
always
what he sucks
scoring
now.
too.
What's that?
He was always like scoring when he played for Arizona, to be
Yeah,
honest.
so in his 12 years in the NHL, he has 417 points, and that's in 848 games. So, I mean, he's good. Like I said, good for sure. Getting school or putting it in the net, but also keeping it out of the net. He's not very good. I know people bitch about plus minus, but he's a minus 104 on his career, and like
Ooh, that's not good as a top two
obviously,
defenseman.
yeah. I mean, he's been on the Coyotes and Vancouver, and Coyotes sucked when they had him, and Vancouver is never going to admit that they need to do a rebuild, so they suck right now too.
Yeah.
They got him and who else? Oh, man, he's from Arizona. Oh, tiny little dude, motherfucker.
Uh,
Oh, me and Sean Ward used to uh, fucking talk about him.
it wasn't Schmaltz because he's still there.
Oh fuck! I can see he has black hair. He's short. I think he's American. I know he was getting scratched at one point this year. This is killing me. Oh, there it is. Connor Garland.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
him and Garland came over and they kind of like just robbed them blind. Honestly, like uh,
Gave up
Ekman
some
Larson
draft
makes
picks, right?
7. Yeah, they were traded. That's correct. And honestly, kind of a bad move by Vancouver because they're not in any position to be winning. They're talking about trading like Horvat, JT Miller. Like that's
That's
uh,
like 2 out of 3 of the top line, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Or like depending on the night, I guess.
top 9 at least for sure, which is not what a winning team's doing. Speaking of not a winning team, Connor Murphy on the Blackhawks here.
Ooh, he was bad.
Dude, 9 seasons in the NHL. I couldn't have told you that. I thought it was more like 3.
Yeah, he's probably put up equivalent numbers to like 3 years.
551 games, 120 points. So what's 551?
It's like a 0.2, 20% scoring rate.
Yeah, he's played about 6.7 seasons over, like doing the math.
Okay.
And I mean, he could have been injured, but that's not great. Obviously, you want to be up higher than that. Mike Hoffman, aka locker room cancer, and his wife at least for sure. I don't know if I need to hash that story up.
No, that's
You know
not.
about that story?
I've heard it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. His wife's an awful person. Owen Tippett, fucking dog. So pissed the Panthers traded him. I really thought he was gonna be like he's a good third line player. I really don't know how he's developing this year with the Flyers. I think he could be a top six guy. Kind of gritty. Like
He
might play more of the third line eventually, but he's kind of gritty. Definitely
he's
an
a
NHL.
good flexible forward to have on your team.
He's nice and flexible.
No.
Yeah, he's flexible. His
He
stats
could
are
play any
115
forward
games
position.
played, 40 points. Honestly, like I like him. He's a ginger. He's right wing, shoots right. Pretty interesting guy. Um, Last guy, Rasmus Anderson here. With
Sick
the
jersey.
Flames. Yeah, I know. I like this one.
It's the
Six
red, white,
NHL
and yellow.
seasons, 298 games, 112 points. That's not bad. I mean, he's contributing. That's for sure. I mean, the Flames aren't necessarily a bad scoring team. They're just not really that great anymore, especially. All right,
I I
sorting through
might
these
debate
cool
you on
butt.
that one later.
I mean, the Flames are rising up, but they're barely a competitive team right now in playoff picture.
Yeah. Their leading scorer has 34 points right now.
Is it Huberdeau?
No, it's Elias Lindholm.
Lindholm? Yeah, that makes sense. How much does Huberdeau have?
I'm not sure. I don't have like the stats pulled up in front of me.
Do you want to guess how much
I'd say like
Wenger has?
Uyghur has probably like 11.
Yeah, I think it is 11. One goal, 8 assists.
Oh, dang. That
Yeah,
was
he's been
close.
my biggest bust so far uh, in fantasy hockey. But he gets blocks, shots, and hits, so it's like I can't drop him just because he's not scoring.
Yeah. Like I my biggest bust this year was Josh Norris for the Senators. He's not going to be back for a while.
But didn't you drop him again and add him again?
I just dropped him like recently.
Yeah, you should have dropped him like months ago, dude.
Yeah, that's probably
I told you when
hurting
you
my
picked him
record.
up. I was like, Matt, he's not going to play this season. Like,
Yeah,
there's no reason. They're not that good, the Senators. At least enough to, like, you know,
compete for a
yeah,
Stanley
like,
Cup.
they got a lot of holes. I mean, what teams did you have stuff on? Senators one of them? Because I could talk about
No.
Senators a little bit. I mean, I like the Senators. I like Claude Giroux, Tim Stutzel, and Brady. I feel
Yeah.
like beyond that, they kind of and Batherson. Without Josh Norris, they're kind of like they're not really deep. Like they have a top six. That's about it.
Who's that defenseman that filled in for Chabot?
Jake Sanderson
Yeah,
probably.
Jake Sanderson. Yeah, he's been a monster.
He's like a rookie. He's 20 years
Yeah,
old.
he might
13
be on
points.
the rookie watch right
Rookie.
now.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
rookie of
Calder.
the year, Calder Cup,
Yeah.
Calder Trophy.
Trophy. Yeah. Yeah. I like him. I like Shabbat. And Artem Zub. We mentioned him from the Cards. I think they're all good young guys. Obviously, they don't have to like compete for a cup this year. Their goalies are kind of meh. I feel like they're good. They're average. They can get a cup, but you have to be super deep. Up top or like in your
In the
forwards. And
holes, I
yeah,
guess.
like you got to be super deep. Like they have Derek Brassard on their team still, and I'm like, in Austin Watson. It's like those two guys. I feel like are fringe NHL, maybe even like AHL players at this point. Just they're old.
It's
Old and they
true.
were never that great, to start. At least Watson was. Um. Anyway, here I can move on here to my segment about the Penguins here.
Oh,
I got I got the great idea. It's like roughly just past halfway in the NHL season. Actually, not any halfway, just below halfway is what I meant. 37 games played for the Pens. I wanted to just give the Penguins, player ratings, and I'll read you some of their stats, Matt, so you can, discuss uh, what you think of their ratings. I'm going to start from the bottom because I feel like I want to start negative and build our way up here.
Let's
Ty
hear it.
Smith, Mark Friedman, Drake Cragula, I don't really count in this.
Kajula.
Kajula, is that how you say it?
Yeah, I think so.
Kajula, Drake Kajula. I didn't really consider them because they haven't played enough games. I only took players with 5 games or more. Uh, and starting with the bottom here, Brian Dumo.
Oh,
Feel like that's really not a surprise. I graded him an F. I think he's been one of the worst, if not like the actual worst player on the Penguins this year. Hurts me to say that. I don't really see a way the Pens can trade him either. Um, I if you're another GM, you're not gonna want Brian Dumo, and you're not gonna like take on money, when you can get something from the Pens for taking his cap. He makes 4.1. This is his last year, but he is just kind of dog shit recently. 0 goals, 8 assists, 8 points a year, -6. I feel like he
ooh,
got exposed against the Bruins again. Uh, and to bring up the Winter Classic versus the Bruins, he actually he took a penalty that led to the Bruins eventually scoring their first goal, and it kind of snowballed from there. I have a little. I could talk about this. I think since we're on the low point here, I think the Pens have a problem with like just holding the lead. Um, off the top of my head, Winter Classic, they're up one. I know that's not a huge lead, but they lost 2-1 in that game. Um, Directly, I feel like it is kind of Dumo's blame for that first goal, but that's kind of beside the point. It's a team sport. Um, but that's off the top of my head. I can also think they just lost to Detroit after winning or being up 4-0, um, and then losing in overtime 5-4. And once they started scoring, I felt like you could just feel the momentum going against the Penguins, especially in that Detroit game. Um, the last one I can just think of up top of my head is another time we played Boston. We were up 5-0, lost six
yeah.
five, and it was like up 4-0 again, and lost 5-6 or 6-5, whatever you want to call it. And like I just kind of wonder like who's the blame here? Like, is it coaching? Is it players playing when they shouldn't? Like Dumo's average time on ice, and this is with Letang missing for a little bit of it, is 19 minutes and 43 seconds. That's
Oh wow.
second. That's second on the Pens right now.
For ice time, and
Yeah,
it's Dumo.
yeah. On their decor, it's second, and overall, it's like fourth. And it's not like I'm the only one that can see Dumo's faults. Like a lot of people can see it. I kind of feel like Mike Sullivan is like maybe he's not reaching the players anymore, or maybe he's just kind of stubborn coach, becoming like stuck in his ways of like, hey, like we're running the way I want us to win, and I'm gonna play the players I want to play, despite what they might be playing like. Like honestly, Dumo was an F. I rated him an F.
That
Another,
brings me to a point about the Winter Classic and Sullivan.
yeah,
It
go
looked
for
like
it.
Jari wanted off the ice because he was hurt for like a while during that game, and
Yeah,
Sullivan like didn't like look at him really, and like wasn't like paying mind to his goaltender situation. Like Jari had a save where he was going to stand up on his like right leg and he couldn't. And like I don't know why you'd let your goalie play through an injury like that. It could be something like a hip. Like
yeah,
you
I
should
think
have
it
put
was
the
knee.
Smith
Yeah.
in right away.
Yeah, I feel like that's also reading off the player too. I don't know if Jari wanted to get off, but I
Yeah.
agree. I feel like the head coach should be like, I mean, the first thought on his head is I want to win this game. If I have an injured player in the net, I'm not going to win this game. Let's get like maybe he wanted to give Casey some time to like, prepare his mentals.
Yeah,
Um
true.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But I also dislike that, man. I really dislike the optics of it. I was just like, and that's a fair criticism I didn't really consider. Like that's kind of bad coaching in my opinion. And I also think giving up leads is bad coaching because I think this team is more than talented enough to shut down other teams. Another
I
criticism
agree.
I've seen, and I kind of agree with, is the lack of use of Ricard Raquel on the power play, or sorry, on the overtime games. I think we've lost every single game but two in overtime that we've gone to so far, including shootouts. I believe I can't. I'm definitely not 100% correct on that, but we do
Oh
not
wow.
usually win OT games, and you know, winning those games could be a huge difference. We have 6 OT losses, so I want to see more from the Pens there and the coaching staff. This is multiple times that the Pens have been on a lengthy losing streak. They're on a 5-game losing streak right now.
Yeah, they're 5 of 6 in the last 11 games,
Yeah,
and I think the Winter Classic was a heartbreaking loss because of that goal at the last second. That
almost
like
goal
almost
or
on the
yeah,
almost goal,
yeah,
like
that goal that was
points
crazy.
tenths of a second were on the expired before the puck crossed the line,
Yeah,
and the Pens could have tied it up and gained a point there. But I think the Pens could turn it around due to like the core still and like Sid being the best player.
well, that's what I'm saying. With like the team's too talented to not be able to hold a lead. Um, like the team, like Sid, like if you have players that you know that you can trust, and like I don't understand why he's trusting certain players like Dumo and Carter when they're proven to be like having poor statistical seasons, and they're not passing the eye test. I was talking to Pat earlier, and Jeff Carter has the lowest Corsi for, which means teams are directing pucks at the net more than when he's on the ice, more than the Penguins are directing pucks at the net when he's on the ice.
Oh
And
wow.
he has like the worst in the league. I can't remember the player Pat compared him with. I think it was a guy on the Blackhawks. So it's just to show, like, I mean, let's be real, the Blackhawks are an awful team.
Yeah, they're pretty
Jeff
bad
Carter
this
is
year.
playing well below the standard. And I mean, honestly, like we have Drew O'Connor, Ryan Paling. I feel like if he comes back, that would be a huge boost. I really would love to see Jeff Carter not be like given some time off or something. Um, I
Maybe they could trade him, but like he was
just
pretty
another guy.
clutch at some points.
I could see the bright side for him, and like he's not having like the worst offensive season. It's just defensively, he just looks like he lost a step. And he's my next guy who has an F. I mean Dumo, I feel like that's we've talked that to death before. He's just having a bad season, and same thing with Jeff Carter. Like the Corsi number, I let me find it here. Um, it's I think it was like 44%. Let's see here. Corsi, what's up, Matt? You're a sleepy boy.
I'm not
Forty-two point
sleepy.
six percent. 42.6%,
Oh
which is
man.
that's like way below his average in his career is 54.3, which that's just like too much rubber towards the net. Sullivan needs to like get his head out of his ass or whatever makes him play Carter every game because like he's just not playing well. And I feel like given like he's 38 years old, maybe he needs a few games off to catch up or something. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah,
maybe he just needs like a healthy scratch to get kick him back into gear or something.
yeah. I mean that's what I'm seeing. Honestly, I feel like he's just not that great right
It
now.
kind of worked with Kapanen.
Yeah,
The
Cappy,
He's
arguably
turned it
one of
around
the
big.
best players. He's actually who I have next on my list here. At a C minus. So this kind of jumped. I feel like the Pens overall are having a good season, so that's why I wanted to start with the negative two who I think are not above replacement anymore, being Dumo and Carter. Um, Cappy, he has actually had himself quite a little season here after being scratched for so long. He has 6 goals, 10 assists in 28 games played. I still feel like he's being underutilized by Sullivan, which was an earlier criticism that I had of him. Um, and I feel like he's doing well. He could have scored twice in the Winter Classic. I kind of wish he did. Would have been probably at least a point.
It's true. His goal was sweet too, with a nice pass from Heinen.
Yeah, which moving on again, I'm gonna keep this moving a little quicker
All right.
because I don't really have as much on the C plus guys or C minus guys. Heinen is my next guy there. C minus, I feel like he's really fallen off. He could even been a D, maybe. I feel like he's really just not been even like visible out there. Besides that one pass, and I've thought to myself, when's the last time I saw him do anything remarkable beyond his like 1 4 point game earlier in the season? If you just take that one game out, I think it was 4 points, and I think it was against CBJ. He has 31 games, 7 points, which that's pretty
And that's not good for
that's pretty bad.
like a third liner, right?
Yeah, well, he's playing on the fourth line now because he's doing so bad,
Yeah.
and he took a deal from the Pens, 1 million for 1 year, so kind of like a betting on yourself deal that might not be working out for him.
Yeah, he might find his way out of some money next year.
I mean, I could see him re-signing with the Pens. I don't think I would like that though. I think I'd rather just move on. Um, but well, that's the GM's job there. Um, I really do think Heinen is not above replacement once again. Cappy we're obviously stuck with, but Heinen could definitely be replaced. Moving on, Chad Ruedel, I have him at a C. Kind of just a plug guy. I don't think he's been doing awful. The fact that he's in the system is mostly because he's a right-handed defenseman. Uh, 18 games played, 1 point. He's a +1. Kind of plays those bottom 6 minutes. I think the Pens, actually, I know the Pens played 7 defensemen versus the Bruins in the Winter Classic, and he was
They
kind of
did.
like that seventh guy. Um, yeah, we'll talk about the Winter Classic. I'm gonna recover or go through the entirety of it pretty
Okay.
much. I keep referencing it because I feel like on a national stage, it really had some stuff shown for the Pens that I feel like was pretty obvious. But yeah, Chad Ruedel, I feel like he's having an average season. I don't really expect much from him. I expect him to fill that spot, and I think he's doing an okay job of it. Um, Drew O'Connor was my next guy here. He was a scratch, barely even making my list requirements here. He's only played 6 games. Um, I mean, I like
I've
him.
never heard of him, honestly.
I mean, yeah, like I like him. He has a goal. It was a pretty important goal. I can't remember who it was against. Let me see if I can find that real quick. But I mean, it's just like it's hard for me to like say much about a 6 game sample, and it is what it is. Let's see who did he score against? I remember it being kind of a big goal. Oh, against Detroit. Oh,
Uh, darn.
yeah, in the comeback loss.
Yeah, in the 4-0 to 5-4.
Yeah, that hurt. I didn't need to see that.
Oh.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, see, not can't really say much. Bryan Rust, I have him next. He has a C rating so far this season. Um, C meaning average, nothing like stellar. I feel like Bryan Rust is kind of having maybe more towards a bad season. Um,
Are
he's
you
bounced off the power play one. Are you what?
are you like gauging these players off past performances and giving them averages,
I
or
mean,
like
that's part of
like
the factor, like if like I mean, like if Kasperi Kapanen puts up 60 points in a season, that's an A season for him.
yeah, yeah, okay.
But yeah, I mean, Bryan Rust, like arguably not having a terrible season. That's why I say C here because he has 37 games played, 23 points. He just minus 13's a lot.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think he's underperforming a little for being Bryan Rust.
I agree, and he's on my fantasy team, and it kind of sucks. Um, but I mean, we did just sign him to a pretty big contract, 5.112 million, 125. So honestly, I feel like he's kind of performing to his like contract like
Yeah.
0.62 point per game. Feel like that's a fair deal. It's just I come to expect more of Bryan Rust. Bryan Rust definitely could have got more than 5.1 million on the open
Elsewhere.
market. Yeah, he
Yeah.
probably could have gotten 6.2 probably with how people were bidding on players recently. Um, I just feel like I want a little bit more from him, and I'm hoping that he gets hot towards the end of the year
He's
and
got a
really
knack for scoring goals.
big game Bryan Rust, dude.
Yeah.
I put your trust in Bryan Rust. That's what I always like to say.
Bryan Rust is not a bust.
Ooh, Rust or bust. I have a T-shirt that says that.
Nice.
Damn, what did I just say about Bryan Rust? I need to write that down. Put your trust in Bryan Rust. That's what I said.
Yeah. I was gonna say eat your pie with Apple or Bryan Rust, I guess. I don't know.
What?
I don't know.
Hello, Kai.
Some pie rust.
Pie Rust. Nice, very nice. Um, moving on here. Jeff Petrie, he's on IR. Part of the reason why we have 7 defensemen right now. Having a C season. I think he's having a pretty average season. Nothing too spectacular. He filled in pretty nicely when Letang was down, but then he went down immediately. So
Yeah.
couldn't really gauge his performance past what he's already played as. And I feel like he's just had a bad start, decent season so far after, a bad start. Hey, Kai. It's okay. I'm trying to give you some space. Yeah, it's a lovely sharing space. Kai's probably. Whoa.
Oh,
Whoa,
the
Roland.
dog.
Rolling the dog. Um,
Roland is the man. I spent most of my New Year's hanging out with him.
that's funny. Probably asleep with him in the basement, giving each other kisses.
No. He just gives me kisses.
I said C, but I meant B minus for Jeff Petrie there. 12 points, 28 games played. Just kind of an average-ish season for him. He definitely can do better.
I thought he was playing well until the injury, for
Yeah, I
sure.
mean, he started off slow for sure, I think, and then did well eventually. Like, started doing, like, probably I could have given him a B, but I think it's B minus just because of the injury. Um, moving on, Chris Letang I have as a B minus as well. Feel bad for Chris Letang. His dad just passed away, so that's why he missed the
Oh,
Winter
dang.
Classic. So, like, rest in peace to his father.
R.I.P.
I think he's in Montreal with him right now, probably a funeral sometime soon. He's listed on the non-roster for the Pen, so part of the reason why Ty Smith is brought up. Ty Smith, we'll see. I've seen a little flashes of him, but we'll stick with Letang here. B minus season. Think he's doing all right. Um, Obviously, you could expect a little bit more scoring from him, but like overall, 16 points in 29 games played from your defenseman, I think it's all right. And he's also he's familiar with having a negative plus minus, so I'm not surprised there in general. Um, got anything for the Tangman? No, I'm surprised.
I always like Letang's performances. Like they're always entertaining, and it's he's putting up goals and assists and making good passes, breaking the puck
He's
out
not
with
putting up
ease.
goals.
Yeah,
He has 2 goals.
but like throughout his career, he's
Yeah,
been
he's a good
clutch at
player.
times, and he knows how to push the puck up.
He's a good dude.
And
He'll,
I hope he's recovering well from his stroke and
yeah, you
his
gotta
dad's
wonder
death.
if like stress could like hurt him.
That's a tough season.
Yeah, it's a real tough season. Feel bad for the man.
Yeah, seriously. Same.
Moving on after that sad state of affairs, Casey DeSmith. Casey DeSmith is your new starting goaltender for the Pens. Um, his stats 4-7-2, 911 save percentage, 299 goals against. Gonna be who knows with DeSmith in the net. Hopefully the Penguins play a little less run and gun and better defensively. I mean, I thought they played bit well defensively in the Winter Classic, but
I did too.
it's just like they have a good team, the Bruins. It's hard when the other team's also good. I thought the Smith did fine, honestly. Um, I can't really fault him on either of the goals. I mean, I do think he still swims around in the net sometimes, but that's all right. Your new backup though is Dustin Tokarski. He's 65, 22, 33 in the NHL. Um, .902 save percentage, 314 goals against. Kind of what you'd expect from backup numbers, I think. We'll see how well he plays. I know he played for the Leafs at one point. Obviously, don't have a rank for him, but we'll see how well he does. I don't expect him to play more than a couple of games. I don't think Jari's that injured. I'm not
I
sure.
hope like Jari gets back quickly
I,
for
I
the Pens'
figure
sake.
I think it was a knee injury, and I figure if he was playing at all, it wasn't serious enough to really constitute like an IR trip or anything like that.
Yeah,
So we'll see. I feel like Jari does get hurt
he
quite a
did
little bit.
get hit right on the knee with the puck, right?
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that that could be like four weeks maybe. I don't know. Hopefully
Who
sooner.
knows? I mean, if it's no structural damage, it would probably be like a couple weeks, I'd say, max. I mean, he's
Yeah,
obviously a goaltender and he's always on his legs, so
it's
who
like,
knows? Shoot him up with Novocaine. Fuck it.
all right. Are you old school now?
Yeah, I am.
Nice.
He's carrying my fantasy team. Next guy here, I have a B rating for this fella, Pierre Olivier Joseph Pojo. Probably gonna say. Um, I feel like he's having himself a solid NHL season here for being a young defenseman. Um, 23 years of age, 33 games played, 11 points. Not expecting, Chris Letang in his prime numbers yet, but like he's playing as well statistically as Chris Letang is. If you look at the numbers, maybe even better with a positive plus minus. Just a few less points, obviously, depending on what's important. But I've talked about him a few times. I think he's a good player to watch when you're watching Penguin games. He's very fluid in his skating. He can go, like these crossovers are they just move him so far, so quickly, and it's kind of interesting because how he skates the puck up, I've seen a few times. He kind of like sweeps into it and sends it up, and it's kind of interesting how much he can actually like move around with his skates. Definitely a new generation kind of defenseman, you know.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm a big fan of POJ. Like,
I'm not sure who
I
I'd
think he's
compare.
a smart player. Like,
Honestly, I think he's a good representation of Chris Letang, of what Letang is right now, just in a younger body. And obviously,
just
Letang
back to
was
back
like,
Latangs would be quite nice for the Penguins.
just saying, that would be. I mean, he was pretty high pedigree. I mean, he came in that Kessel trade, and I think he was a first round pick before that. I was happy we got him for Kessel actually. Um, Another trade that's a kind of a W for the Pens in that era. Um, but if he could develop into what Chris Letang was, I mean, Chris Letang was like a third or fifth round pick or something like that. So talent's there, the size is there. Um, I'm sure putting on a little bit more weight might be on, and strength might be on his list. I do think like he kind of could get bodied around a little bit, being a smaller guy. Probably why he's so quick, but definitely if you're gonna be playing top 4 minutes, you're gonna have to be stronger guy.
Yeah, serious.
You gotta be 200 pounds. I mean, I hate to say like gotta be closer a little. He's 185. That's what they list him at. I'd like him to be closer to 200, just like a little bit more.
A little meat on the bones to
Yeah,
take the
yeah,
hits a little better or something.
exactly. I mean, I obviously have no idea what his physique is. If he's like any other hockey player, he's skinny as fuck and toned. Like
Yeah.
honestly, like zero body fat. Uh, But yeah, I'd like to see him get a little bigger. I feel like steroids are definitely not. No, I'm joking. Joking.
Oh wow, caught me off guard with that one.
Yeah, I was like, wow, that didn't even
I was like,
react.
No, you can't be even suggesting that.
I don't even know if the NHL tests for that. They
They
probably don't care.
ah,
Moving on here. Pojo got a B. B for sure. You know what B is also for? It's for Brock McGinn. He's
oh
having a solid season. Um, I feel like he's playing some decent third line time, scoring big goals. I think I can't remember what the stat was, but I think it was like since December something or other, or maybe even November. He was like the third leading goal scorer on the Penguins, behind like Raquel and I think Gensel.
oh wow.
Yeah,
I'm a fan of McGinn. I've talked in previous podcasts about him, and
yeah,
I think he's a good all around player, like I've said before.
yeah. I think he gets paid 2.75, and I think he's hitting exactly what he is for. He did have a bad penalty. I think it was in the Winter Classic. I was kind of either a bad penalty or bad call. I can't remember. I remember not being happy with him, but I still think he's having a really good season. Like all these players I'm about to mention here. Teddy Bluger, 22 games played. He's on the third line now, 7 points. Since he's come back, the power play's been like pretty much the best in the league, if not for sure the best in the league. Can't really argue against the results. You know. Um,
Yeah,
mo-
Bluger is a good player too.
Moving on, I have Jan Ruda as a B plus. I think he's having an extremely good season, or maybe if it B's a good, he's having a great season. Um, I think he is playing some good minutes for the Pens. Um, that was just weird, Matt.
Sorry,
He's playing like top 4 minutes.
I'll be
He's
right
definitely
back, Dave.
all right. That's fine.
I have to piss so bad.
Jesus. Hey, me too, actually. Um, and while we have a break, this break is brought to you by this new shirt that I'm wearing. I don't know if you can see it, but Kai screen printed this design, her own design, on this shirt, and I'm trying to get a logo from my buddy, and I want to screen print that on some shirts and maybe distribute them amongst friends and family or whatever, and maybe even sell them in the future. Who knows? Um, but yeah, I'll have more details on our actual t-shirt making business kind of thing here. But it's mainly going through this Dungeons and Dragons account I've been uh, doing. It's called Traveling Tavern Tales. Um, you should go follow it on Instagram. I think it's traveling_tales. Wait. Traveling_tavern_tales. Um, Probably need to rebrand the handle there a little bit. But yeah, go check us out. D&D t-shirts. I have like 300 followers there. And I also have an Etsy store for it as well. Paint minifigs, miniatures. Plan on making some sets too and some designs. So some big things in the future there. But I'll just plug in the t-shirt here, Matt.
Oh,
This is
nice. Is that the Traveling
uh
Tavern Tales, or no?
it's not exactly that. It's a design from Kai that she had.
Oh,
I got her a cricket um for what you call for Christmas, and what part of that is if we wanted to make some t-shirts and sell them and stuff. Um, I plan on making some for the pod, but after I get a nice logo from Dunkel for the pod and for Traveling Tavern Tales. Um, Thinking like I already texted Kai a shirt that an idea, and I think I'm gonna. It's definitely themed with Hissy. I'll say that.
oh, nice.
Yeah. So
He's a classic.
yeah, he's my barbarian lizard folk that I play in our friend Toby's campaign. But getting back, to hockey here. Plugging traveling_tavern_tales. Check it out. Anyways, moving on here. We talked Teddy Bluger, Jan Ruda, but I think he's having a great season for the Pens. Another player who I was kind of down on to start this year was Jason Zucker. He's definitely proven me wrong, and I'm glad to
Oh
be
yeah.
wrong.
He looked really good as of late.
Yeah,
He's like moving the puck well, making crisp passes,
plays well with Malkin.
digging in the dirty places.
Plays well with Malkin for sure. 8 goals, 15 assists, 23 points in 33 games. B plus for sure. I was definitely down on this guy, but if we ever wanted to move him now, it would probably be the best time because he is worth the most he has been in a while. It'd be interesting to see if he went to Vancouver or something. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, if we managed to do like a huge trade for JT Miller or something.
Or even Bo Horvat.
Yeah, like I feel like Zucker could be in the equation. And I feel like it would improve our team, just saying. It sucks to lose him when he's playing well, but also this is his last year in a contract. But that's kind of not what I meant to talk about. I think he's having a good season. I think he's playing well with Malkin, and I'm glad to have someone that plays well with Malkin. Really, he deserves it, Mr. Malkin. And Zucker has been really kind of looking kind of bad recently. I'm glad, or not like in recent season, but I'm glad he's finally looking good for sure. Next guy here, moving into the A column. Uh, Actually, no, I'm not. It's Mr. 101 himself, Evgeny Malkin with the B plus here.
Oh,
I don't think he's having a truly dominant season. 37 games played, 34 points. He's playing, second line minutes still. I mean, Malkin took a pay cut, and I think he's playing better than that paycheck is, worth. I think he's playing way better than 6.1 mil. Um, Hence the B plus. I I know he's going to start slowing down, but I'd like to see you know him continue his success. He's not having a bad season by any means. Like just under a point per game is not awful. Um,
no,
but
that's good for Malkin and his age.
yeah, I mean he's getting up there. He's losing a step for sure. You can see it. But sad to see for sure. But it is true. But he's having a good season. Next guy who I think is having maybe the best season of his life is Marcus Peterson. I think he's having an A plus season, leading the Pens in time on ice through like all the Pens, leading them
Wow.
more than Crosby and Jake Gensel. And I think that speaks like volumes of the trust he has, or at least that the coaching staff has in him. With that being said, how much do I trust the coaching staff? I already said I don't know. Not as much as I don't think they're as successful as they think they are. But Pedersen is definitely a large part of the success the Pens have had this season. I mean, he's one of the shutdown defensemen, and regardless of what you think about him in past seasons, he's having a good season.
That's
And
true.
yeah, and it's a good time to have a good season where our defense really needs an anchor, and he kind of seems to be that anchor for the team. He obviously has an A as well as Jake Kensel here having an A. 33 games played, 33 points, 20 minutes on average on ice. He's playing a lot, scoring a shitload of empty net goals. Um,
And Gensel's been the man since the kind of slow start to his standards.
yeah, I mean, yeah, he missed 4 games, so he was injured for a little bit, and that might have been why he was slipping a little bit. But he's truly Crosby's wingman, like Goose and Iceman or whatever the fuck those motherfuckers are called. I've never even watched Top Gun, so I don't even know.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Goose and Maverick, that's what it is.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, like I truly think they'd have a homoerotic volleyball scene together. Like I think these guys are two peaches in a tree or something like that. Uh, but yeah, Gensel can't say enough good things about him. Um, Definitely would love to extend him.
When's
Maybe
his contract up?
2024. So you can. I know at one point in the NHL you can open up contract talks. Um, I guess we'll see.
It's usually like the season before, right?
Yeah, so it would be this season. I think. Yeah. And Crosby's in 2 years, which is even like,
That's shocking. Like
what the fuck? But moving on,
maybe
Jake
Gensel.
Gensel. I think he's having a little bit better of a season than him is actually Uh, Ricard Raquel, he has an A. Maybe not to if you compare them. I think Jake Gensel actually might be having a better season, but I think for Ricard Raquel, he's having a pretty damn good season. He's kind of been one of the most consistent players for the Pens. I feel like he should get more ice time. 13 goals, 10 assists in 37 games. And I feel like he might be slipping a little bit recently in the scoring department, but so have the Pens, and maybe that's part of the reason. If I had to rank them properly, I think I'd put Jake Gensel above him here.
I think I'd agree.
Yeah, I might even move him to the B plus category. I don't know why I have him at A. Because the more I'm looking at it, I mean, he's having an okay season, good season, not an amazing one, but I still think he's been one of the most consistent players for the Pens and just good play. Like he's one of the only forwards that has a positive plus minus. Um, I think he needs to be utilized a little bit more properly, perhaps. Would love to see him play with Sid, but for some reason, I feel like Sully likes putting him on Evgeny Malkin's line.
I
He's definitely switched a lot with Bryan Rust.
You were saying earlier that Raquel would look good in the power play, like the power play 2.
He's on power play 1 now.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Get Rust is on power play 2. He got moved down. And
Yeah,
I mean, he's kind of having an average season, and that's one of the that very obvious things of it.
I think Raquel's numbers will go up for sure though if he's on power play 1 now.
Yeah, I think he'll start scoring a little bit more, better clip. He's .62 points per game, 18 minutes 26 seconds average ice. I think his numbers will go up. I probably put him in the B plus range though to correct that. And moving on to an actual A guy, I have Tristan Jarry. Sucks that he got hurt. I will say right as I was doing this, like of course. 25 games played, 15 4-4 record, 2.75 goals against, .918 save percentage. He's technically 15 and 15 5. Did he? I don't know if he got that lost or not because he didn't let up a goal.
No, it was tied.
Yeah,
it was 1-0
yeah.
Pens.
So right? It might have been. No, it wasn't.
No, it was 0-0.
They scored in the second period.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think he's having a great season. Um, I feel like he's been one of the better players on the Penguins. Maybe dropping a little bit recently, but he's had a really good season in general. Oof.
I think if you're letting in 2.75 goals and still have a 918 save percentage, you're a pretty damn good goaltender and you're stopping a lot of shots in front of you.
Yeah, whatever he's seeing, which tends to be a lot sometimes.
Yeah.
I think Jarry is definitely here to stay for the Pens. I'd like to keep him around.
I hope he stays like healthy from now on though.
Yeah, it sucks that he's missing some time. Talked about that a little bit.
Yeah.
Sucks, but DeSmith and Tokarski, the team's in your hands. We'll see how it works. Moving on here to the Penguin that I think is having the best season so far, and that's Sidney Crosby, without a doubt. Turning the clock back, proving any kind of debate and who's the best player. I think he needs to be mentioned. I mean, he's not only he's above point per game with 1.16 points per game, but he does everything. Like Connor McDavid can score for sure, but I don't know if they'd necessarily put him out there to shut down another team's top line. I feel like they'd have like Nugent Hopkins and whatever wingers else, like maybe Leon Draisaitl. I'm not sure, but I feel like Sidney Crosby is still the undisputed best all around player.
Yeah, on the Winter Classic, they created a Mount Rushmore of hockey and just like cropped in Sid's face as a fifth.
And I think you are correct. If Sidney Crosby, I mean, like fifth all time does sound about right. I mean, obviously, as his career ends, we can make the full debate. But I've seen people put Sidney Crosby in top 5 in most of their debates, unless they're clowns. Because
yeah.
I can see people doing it to spite Sid. It's just like he is.
It's like clear now. Like he's top 5.
What other players had as this much pressure to be like the next great one and live up to it? Like
Yeah, and
that's an
win what,
insane amount of
4
pressure.
cups, right?
Three,
3, yeah, duh.
three
But
cups,
still,
gonna win
he
four.
went
That's right,
to
Matt.
he
Right.
went to 4 finals though, right?
Yeah, yeah, but I
Well,
mean, I feel like if you mention hockey from 2006 to even like right now, you have to mention Sidney Crosby, and that's just one of the like truth of like the best players in an era, and a player that you can consider top five of all time. I mean,
there's no
how do you
debate.
mention this era without talking about Sidney Crosby? Hockey gold in for Canada, beating the U.S. like World Junior stuff. I'm sure Stanley Cups,
He's
obviously, World Cup in
multi
hockey.
multi-generational talent for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
He
for sure.
proved it in '06 when he came into the league with the old guys at the time like Lidstrom
It's
and
true. Yeah, he did
Zetterberg
play
and
with those
Datsuk
guys.
and the Sedin twins, like a bunch of Hall
He
of
played with
Famers.
Lemieux too.
Yeah, true. And then even in the tens generation, he played with all those greats, and he was probably the greatest in that time period.
I
And
mean,
then
without a
now,
doubt, at that point he was in his prime, and if he didn't get injured, who knows how many more points he'd have.
and cups too.
Yeah, yeah, he was on a. I think it was like Mitch Marner was close to the streak. I think it was 23 game point streak that in that year he got injured and
Yeah,
his neck where he had like the soft tissue issues.
that fucking sucked.
Yeah, that was a tough time to be a Penguins fan for sure. But obviously, like I said, turning back the clock now to 43 points, easily the MVP of the team. Like doing it at 35 years old. I really hope we have something in here in the team to like maybe make a move and improve the team and win another cup for him. At least one more. Like if all the boys sign a contract, you gotta win one. Like that, you got 3 years pretty much to do it.
I think year 1 or 2 would be the best time though.
Well, yeah, we'll see. I mean, a lot of money is gonna come off the books next year too. So even more so the next year. So that's good point. Good points there. Um, I got my Sweet 16 here, basically top 16 teams. Do you
I'll
want to talk
chime
any
in on
CBJ stuff or anything?
CBJ. There's like no good news on the CBJ front. They have 4 wins in their 15 game December, and it's been a mess of a season. Uh, is it time to panic as a part of the fifth line again? Yeah, probably.
I think you're already in panic mode. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't have much news on the Jackets this week. I I could chime in during the top 16 on some other teams that I
Of course. Yeah.
covered a little bit.
Sure. I'm gonna stream whatever the hell this is called. One note here. All right. You see it,
Yep.
Mr. Stalter? All right. So, top 16 teams. I have 16 in quotations because these are really like uh, 8 teams from each conference. The teams that I think are the most deserving of playoffs, and kind of like who I think will end up being in the playoffs at this very point. Right now, Carolina Hurricanes, I think, moved to the number one spot. I think they've been the hottest team recently, and if they play the Bruins, they could possibly dethrone them. And I think that's why, even though the Bruins did beat the Pens are on a huge losing streak. So they kind of maybe weren't playing the Pens best, missing Letang, Jari, and uh, you know, Paling, and it's like I feel like the Bruins kind of have taken a little bit of a step back, maybe a stumble actually, while the Carolina Hurricanes have kept sprinting.
Yeah.
You can if you can see like the numbers I wrote, you can see kind of like how I've been tracking this from week to week here. I have the Leafs here not moving at all at third. Feel like there's not much news there. They've kind of just consistently been a really good team. No surprise, and I think they're going to start getting healthy soon. So who knows? They might be able to be the best team, win that President's Cup. Uh,
I have some notes on the Hurricanes and the Maple Leafs.
go for it.
The Hurricanes are currently on an 11-game win streak, and they've collected 4 shutouts
Whew.
in that 11-game win streak. 2 by Kochetkov, 2 by Antti Ranta, and they're second in the league in goals against. So their defense is doing their jobs. Their goalies are doing their jobs. They have 14 players with 10 or more points, and 5 have 20 or more points. And their leading scorer is Martin Necas at 36 points.
I think they're one of those teams that just play a really solid defensive game. The kind of game that, wins Stanley Cups, but something they didn't have last year that they seem to do have this year is scoring. Like I was tracking them at one point. They were like one of the lowest scoring teams and one of the lowest goals allowed, but they've been turning it on offensively. And I think that's why they kind of lost last year in the Stanley Cup, or in the not in the Stanley Cup finals, but in the playoffs, where
Yeah,
they were trading those games with, I think it was the Bruins, right? Or is it?
I think it was.
I should check that either, but they didn't win a home game at all that
Oh,
one.
that series, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it was like they would score so much at home and score nothing away. So it's like if they can be a good scoring or a top scoring team, dude, like they might be the best team. They might be better than Boston. That's saying something.
They're so well rounded. I think Carolina is a team to beat right now in the Metro. But in my opinion, the Metro division, the winner of that division is going to be on like some crazy win streak going into playoffs. Like they already had the Devils, and right now have the Hurricanes. Like who's going to be that third team that pulls out a streak from the Metro?
We'll see, I guess. Hopefully, the Pens.
I'm thinking the Pens might be the best and safest bet.
I could see the Rangers doing it too. Admittedly,
Yeah,
um,
Rangers maybe if they have some help with
they need Igor to just shut it down.
Igor. And
Yeah,
then
go
like
for it.
to move on to Toronto. Sorry, Dave.
Yeah, no worries. No, we might as well about the tier together here.
Moving on to Toronto though, the last 11 games they have an 8-3 record, and in all 8 wins they've scored 4 or more goals. Their scoring is firing on all cylinders, and their big three in scoring, Nylander, Marner, and Matthews, all have 42 points. So if their goaltending continues to hold up, I think Toronto has a good shot at the Presidents, like Dave, you were saying earlier.
Yeah, I agree. I think one of their issues. I mean, you see Jack Campbell this year; he has like an 8.7 save percentage. I made a post about it on the social medias. He's been playing ass. Like, I don't think he was a starting goalie ever in Toronto. I think they played better 5-on-5 and defensively than uh, Edmonton. Obviously, can't like.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So
Like Edmonton, I have some notes on them too, but they're not on the list.
yeah, we'll
So,
get them in the rest kind of section.
okay.
I was debating between them and Calgary. If you think they're better than Calgary, we can talk about it.
Okay,
Um,
cool.
Moving on here, the Dallas, the 4-7 range here. I got Dallas going up 3 spots.
That's an easy move right there.
Yeah, part of the reason for that also is the Penguins going down. Same thing with I I guess kind of the Golden Knights. They're both on, two of the best teams in the West, like the two best teams in the West. I think that's kind of a further gap in the West than it is the East.
Yep.
I think they're both having solid stretches here after the break, and kind of the most important hockey is going to be coming up here pretty soon, especially for seeding. But easily both of them bumping up 3 spots to 4 and 5, Dallas and Vegas respectively. Moving down 2 spots was Tampa, kind of just reactionary to Dallas and the Vegas Golden Knights. They're not having an awful. They're like on a 3-game win streak. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games here, but I just feel like Dallas is a legit team, and Same thing with Vegas. I feel like you can make the argument maybe Tampa should be up there in 4. Um, but I don't think so. I think Dallas and Vegas are definitely playing better.
I agree with you there. Like Dallas is at the top of the Central Division right now, and that's in a division with what the Avalanche, the Jets, the Wild, the Blues, like quality historic franchises that have put up historic seasons, and Dallas is looking to do the same.
Yes, they are, Matt. What do you think? What do you think Dallas ends up here? Do you think they stay at the top?
For my sake, I hope that Dallas drops to like the 8 to 11, and
Yeah,
maybe like a team like I think when the Avalanche get healthy, they're gonna jump up these standings pretty heftily.
do they lose to the? Or are they in the Moot Tracker?
Yeah, the Moot Tracker right now. Just a quick update. I have 5 teams in position for the playoff locks, and then still alive. There's 5 teams, so I have potential for about 10 teams.
That's good. Um, just furthermore on Tampa, why have them dropping? I just feel like they've beaten bad teams and lost to the good teams they've played recently. Like they beat Nashville, Panthers, Seattle. I mean, Seattle's all right. Don't get me wrong, but they're not as good as they were to start. Columbus and Montreal, but they lost to Toronto and Detroit. Like they kind of have a cupcake schedule, and they're just winning right now because of that. Montreal again. Rangers are probably the only, geez, wrong, only team of significance, and then they played Arizona again and obviously beat them. Um, I just feel like yeah, same thing with kind of like the Pens, how they just teams go up as and other teams need to drop. Um, Same thing here with the Devils. They're still a really good team, but other teams are playing better, and they've definitely started crashing down a little bit. They're 2-6-2 in their last 10. Uh, Kind of high scoring losses when I've checked in on them. So maybe their goaltending is getting a little bit more exposed. Maybe teams are game planning around it. We'll
I
see.
I could see the Devils just people waking up to how good they actually are and playing them as a good team rather than like a team of last year.
That's fair as well. The expectation people want to give them their best. I can see that, Matt. That's a good call. Um, Next, moving on here in the 8 spot, moving up 6 spots, and I kind of might switch this right now. I think the Jets should be here in the 8th spot. Let's
Oh,
let's correct it on the air. The Jets moving up, so they're +3 now. And they're +5. So Jets here, kind of a sneaky team. They're only 5-5 in their last 10, which is kind of one of the reasons why I was going to keep them there. But I think important stat, God, I said that all jumbled. An important stat is their goal differential, which is +23. Currently, right now, the Kings are -6, and that's not a tail. That's not usually a sign of a playoff team. But
I've
they
got
are winning
notes on the
games.
Kings whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I mean they're a winning team, right? Like they aren't bad. They're just super inconsistent. I've said this for weeks now. It's like you don't really know what you're gonna get when they play.
Yeah, they're 6-4 in their last 10 games, and in those last 10 games, they've beaten Boston, Vegas, Calgary, and Colorado. So I don't think you should count them out quite yet.
I'd argue
There's
Colorado sucks still right
yeah,
now,
but
but I get you.
LA is also 6 in goals for and fourth in assists. So they're scoring and they're playing as a team. And I think a big asset at the deadline would be to acquire a goaltender to
Yeah,
like really like boost their chances in the playoffs.
I'd argue that assists don't really matter, but that's fine. Second in assists, what was it? Fourth in assists.
Yeah, like as a team.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
know.
think that
I
matters.
I think that means they're passing a lot and like they're setting up the right plays.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Or they're getting shots off people's faces that just go in, and two people get an assist off of
True.
it. um, just a brief check in here while we have a pause. Um, Hurricanes are up 2-1 on the Rangers right now. Just wanted to put it out there because the Rangers are coming up next year. Um, but yeah, I mean, LA just inconsistent. They score a lot, right? But they can't keep it out of their net, which is usually means you'll get bumped eventually from playoff position.
Yeah.
Jets are my sneaky central team. Jeez. Um, I think they're better than what they're showing. I still think Paul Maurice kind of damaged the team with how he ran things. I see it in Florida right now. Um, I think they could be more. I think they have really good goaltending, decent defending, and okay scoring. I still think they could add, a player. They definitely have some space cap wise.
I'm with you there. Jets were one of my sleeper teams at the preseason, and think they're really like overperforming more than I thought they would.
Really,
And yeah, like
you don't think they're this good?
I thought they were a fringe like 3 seed at the beginning of the season.
Well, that's where I have them right now. They're right now in the. If you look at this, they're like 1, 2, 3, fourth in the West, and that's fifth. What is that? 9, 9.
Yeah, ninth.
Yeah,
So that makes sense. So
yeah,
I think they're probably like adequately performing, but
yeah. I was gonna say you might actually be like right where they're at. Yeah, I think they're still a little bit better than this. I think they could maybe acquire a bit of more scoring, and I think they'll be a better team.
I,
Like I
I'm
said, positive
I'm
goal
with you.
differential. Um, that's I mean that's a good sign, right? Better than what you call it? Oh my God, Kings.
Assists.
Jeez. Yeah, better than assist. Assists are a very important stat. Let me have you. Um, moving on here to the Rangers, who I think I feel like they're another hard team to predict. They're definitely a good team. Don't get me wrong. Um, 7-2-1 in their last 10. They seem to have decent scoring. I just feel like they're not deep in it. I feel like they rely on Igor a lot, and
I feel like they rely on Breadman a lot as well.
Zibanejad. I would say those three players and Adam Fox, but Breadman probably even more, because he is
Yeah.
probably their best player. I
He's
would
leading
argue.
the team right now with 43 points in like
Yeah,
37 games or something.
yeah, I'd definitely say he's their best player. There you go. Um, and then
But
Zibanejad, Matt Fox. But yeah,
they've been kind of slumping lately, honestly. So
7-3-1 or 7-2-1 slumping.
well, their last 5 games, 3 of them they've lost.
Okay, I got you.
So like in my opinion, they have they're starting to slump and they're already losing tonight.
Yeah, they
So
are, but they're playing Hurricanes, which I think they should definitely lose to, based
and
off just what we're
and
looking at.
lately, uh, the Rangers haven't beat like a quality team in a while, in my opinion.
Okay,
They
yeah, I'm not sure
they
who they played. Who
they
they played?
beaten up on Florida, St. Louis, Colorado, who you think sucks,
I
Philly,
also think the Panthers
Chicago,
suck. So
Islanders, and
hey, Islanders are decent.
yeah, Islanders are decent, but in their big games against like Pittsburgh, Washington, Tampa, and now Carolina, they're not looking too hot. So maybe like middle of the pack team. I think they'll sneak in top 3 of the Metro though.
Hmm. I think that's a tough sell for me. Them being third. Um, right now, if the playoffs started, I think they might be in that spot. But right now they're also a game up on the Pens. The Pens are just playing like ass, and that's part of the reason once again why certain teams go up and other teams don't here on the rankings.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like Rangers are just product of two teams kind of not playing as well, or a few teams not playing as well. So I feel like it's definitely Carolina,
I'm
Devils,
not
Penguins. I would argue maybe the Capitals or Islanders. I don't know. I could argue the Rangers there too.
I'm a
Uh,
believer that the Devils are going to get a wild card.
that's tough. I
That's a
mean,
hot take from Matt
that's
Stalter.
tough. Yeah, if they fall off really hard, they definitely can. But right now, I feel like there's just enough of a point gap that they could tank a little bit here, especially with the Pens losing a bunch of games. Their Pens were threatening, and now they're not threatening as much. Um, which is
Facts.
we can move on here though to the Wild. I had them drop one. Um, kind of wasn't following them, so maybe this is a wrong one by me. I see that
Uh,
they're 8-2 in their last 10, so maybe a little bit of a misstep by me.
yeah, and their big wins have come against the Jets and the Oilers, if you count that as a big win. We could get into that in a little if you want.
Yeah, I mean Oilers. I don't know, not at this moment, but I see they beat the Blues and Jets, lost to the Stars, which I would expect.
Yeah,
Lost to the Sharks too. What the hell?
but
Anyway, yeah, I feel like they're treading in the middle of the pack kind of area still.
yeah, they're currently in position on the Moot tracker, but I don't see them finishing in that top three spot in the Central. I think Colorado might pass them up, or
Yeah,
even St.
Colorado. Yeah,
Louis.
St. Louis. Damn.
If I don't know, St. Louis might be out of contention at this point
No, they're not out of contention.
After Torrey Krug's injury, maybe.
I just think they suck. Yeah, I think the Blues
Yeah,
suck.
but Minnesota has the second most penalty minutes in the league. So I think that's kind of a bad sign moving forward. If you want to be a good playoff team, got to stay out of the box, not take bad penalties.
It's true. That's true. Moving on here, Washington. I have not kind of treading water. They're 8-1-1, which is the reason they're even up here in the first place in their last 10. That is, they have more games played than everyone else, so they're at 30 or 47 points in 39 games. They're kind of just sitting there because they have more games than other people right now. I feel like they're just treading there, and I think they could be that sneaky third or maybe wild card. Um, Instead of maybe the Pens or Rangers. Who knows? At this point, yeah, moving on to the Pens, like another pretty abysmal state of affairs, losing 5 in a row, giving up leads, losing to bad teams. Man, I mean, how much do you blame on the coaches? At least, how much do I blame on the coaches? I feel like a decent bit. They lost to Carolina twice in the last like 7 games as well, which definitely hurts their standings right now. Say they win those 2 games and Carolina doesn't. Pens are at 48 points and they're at 52. So kind of
So
actually they actually there's a point added. So like plus or minus 1 on that, but because we lost an OT, but still like points are a premium, especially in the Metro where everyone's within like 2 points here for the playoff spots. And if they started today, I don't even know if the Pens would make it. Uh,
I
they
don't.
would. I think
I think
they
they'd be
do.
a wild card,
They would
like
be.
the
They'd be
eight
playing like the
seed.
Bruins. I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, they are or would be. But I mean, I think rightfully so. They've dropped 8 spots. Um, can't really say much good for the team right now. I hope that they put it together though. Moving on, Seattle kind of streaking right now. Uh, one of the one of the teams that have been in the wild card area kind of the entire year. I didn't have them ranked last week, but I think they're uh, deserving of like that wild card spot right now. Um, I don't have much to say on them. I think they're just like that middle of the pack team. I think their goaltending's cooled off a little bit. Kind of
The
hurting my
Kraken.
yeah, kind of hurting my fantasy team as well. Um, but that's not as important to them, I guess. But it's important to me. I care. Martin Jones start doing well again. But yeah, I feel like they're in like a deserving. They're in the right spot. I think they're I think they're going to make playoffs. I don't think Edmonton will. I think instead of in place of another Western team. But yeah, moving on. Avs are next, increasing a spot. They are not in playoff position yet, but they're 2 games back from the Oilers, who are. And I mean, they've been injured and playing awfully because they're injured. I think uh, once they get the full band together, they're definitely going to get up the playoffs. Probably secure a pretty good spot. Right now, the Calgary Flames, who I have right behind them, they were unranked the week before, but this week they're ranked. They're in the third in the Pacific right now, with 43 points and 38 games. So Colorado, I think, are better than the Flames. Um,
I
the
agree.
Flames have a lot of major flaws, especially paying Huberto and Uyghur an exorbitant amount of money for not getting any sort of close return. And I think Colorado is going to trend upwards, while Flames might tread kind of where they're at, that third or fourth spot.
I think
Um,
Calgary just beat Seattle head to head, and I think that'll play a big dividend down the line for both those teams.
four
And
point games in the division are important.
yeah, and Calgary's confidence will get boosted, being able to like beat the Kraken, the Pacific Division, maybe rival in the future. But
Yeah, I
we'll
think
see.
they're as a franchise. I think Seattle's trending up. Not sure if uh, Flames are going to tread upwards though.
I
It's
think
funny. The
they're
Uyghur actually
accurately.
scored his first goal with the Flames 3 nights ago.
Oh man,
Yeah, yeah,
Mr. 9 points.
yeah. Mister drafted him like too early.
I think the Flames will stay like pretty steady in the rest though.
I think they're in the spot they should be in right now. I look at the other teams in the West. I don't think they're as good. Um, I think they have talent like Huberto. I think like they have that top end talent. It's just does it come to show? And maybe they're playing a bad defensive system for their best players. One of the things that Sutter, that I think that's their coach. He's kind of known as a hard ass, and like maybe they don't
Yeah,
want to play for him, especially players who are added this season. Especially in that Tuck trade. Um, so like
maybe
I
it
don't know.
doesn't like gel as well with the new players.
I mean, I feel like there's a reason both those players wanted gone, and I feel like yes, years of underachieving as the Flames, but I think the coach probably could push them away as well. Um, Matthew Tkachuk has talked on Spit and Chicklets before about Sutter, and it's it's like one of those things where you ask someone about someone they hate, and they hate them, but they don't want to say anything like publicly. Like you've heard like celebrities and sports guys like or players and athletes say stuff
Yeah.
you could tell they're pissed or just don't like this person, and that's kind of how it seemed like for his head coach. Which, like, yes, Matthew Tkachuk played well, but that might not mesh with Huberto or Uyghur or anyone else that they've added in the off season.
It's true. I Sutter is a Hall of Fame coach, but like maybe his time in the NHL is coming to a close. I don't know.
I don't know. I think the Flames like him actually as a front office. I think what I'm going to brand this part of the like, little segment is I think they might have a culture issue. Um, I like Kadri. I like Huberto. I don't really like the hard ass style of coach. Um, if Tkachuk, who is like one of my favorite players, if Matthew Tkachuk doesn't like him, I'm sure there's a reason. I I feel like he spoke pretty candidly in his interview, and I don't think he's like a douchebag like his dad was. So I feel like his truth is probably close to how Sutter really is. But yeah, I don't have
Yeah.
anyone else here in the 16. That's my top 16 right now. I'm gonna keep tracking it like this. I kind of like seeing the the numbers on this, and it's kind of funny when I actually get to make changes. It looks kind of cool too. I think if I had to more accurately do this, I I I think I'd put them right here.
You put the Wild all the way there.
I think the Wild are a good team. I think I think inconsistent for sure. Uh,
Yeah.
maybe actually here. Let me fix this line. I think they're behind the Jets, but I think they're above the Rangers too. Yeah, but that's pretty much it. Matt, you said you wanted to talk about the Oilers. I'd put the Oilers somewhere below this section here.
Yeah, I'd put the Oilers like right behind the Flames. I think McDavid is gonna continue tearing up the score sheet, but like goaltending is just an issue there again.
Dude, I don't know why they they
And
used Jack Campbell to fix their issues because he is not like I felt like he was not an NHL goaltender, like starting goaltender ever in his
yeah,
career. Why
like
would they expect and pay so
Skinner
much?
Skinner's been playing great too, like in comparison to Jack Campbell.
Jack
And
Campbell, yeah, it's just you paid too much for him. It's like $6 million for 3 years or something like that.
Edmonton though, they've been losing a lot of one goal games lately, and
That's probably
I
because of Skinner, right?
Skinner or Jack Campbell, one of the two.
No, dude, Jack Campbell.
He's
Jack
gotten a
Campbell's
couple
bad.
starts,
Let me
but
find stats. Continue with what you're saying.
yeah, they lost a lot of one goal games lately, and I think they could definitely like flip a couple games in the future and learn from these close losses and climb the standings a little bit.
All right, so Jack Campbell's stats, and I could even pull up our Instagram for this. Right, this season, 16 games played, 3.90, 876 save percentage. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's been playing awful. Those are basically what his stats were in the playoffs last year, where he crumbled and looked awful. And after that, I don't know why anyone would offer him what is it, 6 million?
yeah, or five or something.
Uh,
I could
five
look it up.
million, 5 million for 6 years. That's what it was. Like that's absolutely insane. Like, why spend that money there on a goaltender that's unproven? He's 30 years old. Statistically, in the NHL, his NHL totals. I wonder what are his NHL totals? Because he can't have a good record like that. His last 5 games, he only has one game above a 9 save percentage,
Oh man,
and that was against Nashville. His NHL totals, here they are, which makes him sound better than I think he actually is. 141 games started, 79 wins, 46 losses, 15 OT losses, 912 save percentage, 268 goals against.
oh,
And it sounds pretty good, but I still don't think he passes the eye test there.
his stats might have been inflated from the Toronto
And they definitely
campaign.
he definitely had 3 good years in Toronto when he was there. Um, it's just this with Edmonton, he's just not as good, well insulated. Like he played for the
Agreed.
Kings before, and the Kings were those were damn good Kings teams. So like 2016 to 2020, roughly.
Yeah, with like
So I mean,
Kopitar, Brown,
they're still
Drew
Kopitar's
Doughty.
still there. But yeah, I mean, they were solid teams in 2016. Like they finished, I think, probably middle of the pack. They probably missed playoffs, but still, he
But
also
yeah,
wasn't the starter. You know,
Yeah, he was backing up quick.
Yeah. What else you got about Edmonton? Is that?
That was pretty much it. But thanks for having me on again.
Yeah, no worries. I do feel like Edmonton is just a disappointing team in general. Um, I'd really like to see more from McDavid's managers here. I feel like they're the reason the team sucks. Like they signed big contracts that don't work. Um, just part of having a bad front office, and I'm glad the Pens have never really had a bad front office. Um, and with that being said, Matt, I'm out of topics here.
Yeah, I've got nothing else.
Yeah. So happy New Year for everyone who's listening. Um, this is Dave and Matt on Puckin Dirty. I'm gonna replug here the T-shirt again because I do want to start making them. I'm gonna talk to Ryan about making them for Talking Dirty. Um, Funny enough, I have to talk to Dunkel about it, and I just axed his trade earlier this week
Oh.
or from this week. I mean, the man was trying to trade first overall or first round picks, and like I was like,
For Rantanen. Like, come on now.
I mean, I didn't necessarily think the value. We can talk that actually real quick here before we wish everyone a happy new year. But uh, I feel like the trade, if you like look at it, really wasn't that unbalanced in like the value maybe. But like I for one did not want to do anything with draft picks of that importance. Basically, I told Dunkel it's like don't trade like the first rounds because I don't know if I can guarantee that the other team's gonna get them. You know?
Yeah, like this year.
Yeah, and like I actually so like I was like okay if this trade is legitimate, I feel like both teams have to be trying. I know in the NBA league that Meter kind of did this last year where he didn't play at all and then traded his team away. And I looked at so Dunkel said one of his buddy's issues was that he lost 6 games to start the season. And I looked at his those 6 games, 2 times he didn't reach the goalie start limit.
Oh
So,
man.
so just automatic forfeit of 6 categories.
Yeah, that's not good.
And like that to me is you're not playing. You're not focusing, you know. Um and he was had IR guys on his lineups when he had, you know, healthy guys in his IR. So I'm like, this guy clearly was not like looking. I don't think I should reward him with
A
compensation for
high
next
draft
year.
pick. Yeah.
Yeah, like first off, you're new to the league. You shouldn't really like he just joined. Like why get all this like benefit? Like this isn't a dynasty fantasy league. It's a fantasy league. Like this year I lost in football and I went like 3-11 and it fucking sucked. But you know, I'm not like trying to trade for first round picks. It's just fantasy sports. It sucks. Sucks
Some
some
years
years.
it sucks.
Yeah, exactly. Um but yeah, like I told him no and like if they can find a decent trade but like without, you know, the first round picks and third round picks, I would be fine with it cuz like consequences aren't as you know damning. Like Dunkel was trading his first round pick and like, you know, if didn't go through, he basically got that player for nothing, you know, or
Yeah.
for what the players were in the trade. So it looked unbalanced in my opinion. Hey Roland, hey Roland. All right.
Yeah, I thought it looked unbalanced though too, just because like those picks weren't guaranteed the next season,
Yeah,
and he
and
would be getting two like stud players basically,
I mean he was getting top like
top 50, top
15.
70.
Yeah, and like for basically a player he dropped today, and 2 players ranked 100 and like 150. I'm like Dunkel, this is bullshit. Like I didn't say it like that, but it's like it's just like I didn't want to set a precedent of like, yeah, you can do this. You can not pay attention and trade your friend that none of us know, kind of, you know.
Yeah, it seems a little fishy too.
Yeah. And like I'm not trying to like be like a dick or anything. I just think, you know, I gotta be an unbiased person. If I see this as a third party, I think this is a bullshit trade. Especially
From
because
a
I
guy
did
that's
research
not
into it.
setting his lineup.
I didn't just say no because I thought like, oh, I don't want Dunkel's team to get better. It's like this guy wasn't playing. Like,
Yeah, you can't like trade with someone that doesn't play.
Yeah, I mean, at least not like a first overall or first round, whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
He's
but
still in
anyway,
playoff contention too.
that's what
Like,
I said. I said he's 3 points away, and then he added bench of players today. I'm like, okay, what the fuck? Like, of course, now Dunkel helps him out after
yeah.
trying to steal all of his players. Anyway, fuck you, Dunkel. I love you. Um,
Same.
that was episode 10 of Puckin Dirty. Matt, I'd like to thank you again for coming and join me on such short notice. Appreciate having your Midwestern input here.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks for hosting.
Yeah, no worries. Happy New Year, everyone, and hopefully we can get a more consistent, Puckin Dirty. Um, would definitely like to see it. Definitely making T-shirts. I'm not sure about for Ryan's pod, but definitely for this one. Um, thank you all for those who listen. Happy 2023. Matt, stay beautiful, buddy.
You too, Dave.